She's checking to see how good we are at lip reading.
It's an inclusive process. Okay, so let's go. Hannah, could you share the slides, please? It's in Julia at It's Love Tutoring Story. So we in this room are kicking off the Love Tutoring Festival, which is an absolute joy. It is being streamed in YouTube, but the best place to access Love Tutoring and all things Love Tutoring is in the Love Tutoring community. And you'll find there that there is an interactive festival guide, which is a thing that Hannah and I just conjured up. Because what we wanted to do is give you all the links, give you the schedule, give you an opportunity to chat throughout the time together, create safe spaces, and share with you the goodie bag. Hands up if you have already explored the goodie bag. Oh, yes. Hands up if you are making use of all the deals and discounts that Odette has been negotiating for us. I think Nicola actually spent the whole day doing that yesterday. Am I right? Yeah. So when these tech people contact us and they're like, what is it with your tutors? They're rinsing us. I'm going to be really chuffed. So our goal in Love Tutoring is to bring tutoring into mainstream education, to make tutors feel more loved. And that love is really intentional. It's not fluffy in the slightest. It's coming from a place of understanding that it's love that leads change. And that by creating an upward surge, we can really make a difference in this space. Now, you've heard me say, most of you have heard me say in the past that tutoring can be lonely. But I really don't want to talk about deficit. I really want to celebrate success. So I will share with you now the story behind Qualified Tutor and Love Tutoring, and I will do it as an opportunity to set some culture with you and some intention here. So for those of you who don't know me already, I am Julia Silva. I am a senior school leader, not currently. I am a mum of 5 ridiculous humans and a puppy. And I am a tutor who remembers that it can be difficult. It can be lonely. It's difficult to know you're doing it right. There is a book that some of you have read half of, which will be good by the time I actually publish it, which talks about how tutoring as a plan B endeavor, as a side hustle, is always going to leave the profession on the back foot. We need expertise in tutoring. We need commitment in tutoring. Our students need that from us. So whether we're tutoring 3 hours a week or 30 hours a week, we always want to show up with integrity and commitment, because that's who we are as people. You know, when I go out into the world and I tell people what I do, I say I basically set up a business to work with the nicest humans. And I really, really believe that tutors are the nicest humans, because we love our subject, but more than that, we love getting close and helping people. And I can see Lauren smiling, because I know, Lauren, that's what you are all about. And I've been asking tutors to tell me about their why for years now. And what they always tell me is that they're paying it forward. They're either paying forward the kindness that an educator did for them in the past, an inspiring teacher, a trusted adult, or they are correcting what they felt that they didn't have that they would have liked to have. So either way, it's this real sense of leaving the world a better place. So Anna, could I trouble you to change the slide, please? Thank you, my darling. So we started Qualified Tutor in 2019, and I say we because Ludo, who you can see in this picture here, was the first member of the Qualified Tutor community. At that time, I was doing tons and tons of reading about how to build a business that makes change in the world. And that's exactly the right question, Hannah, thank you. So I was contacting tutors wherever I could find them. And I found that Superprof was a really, really good place to get hold of tutors' phone numbers. So I was texting all these tutors, and I found Ludo, and he leaned in, and he leaned in, and he leaned in. And he had just finished at Oxford University. He studied French, and he was just about to go and study law, 2019, D. And he was going to go and study law, and he was really interested in this project because Ludo at the time was enrolled with 5 or 6 or 7 different tutor agencies, as were most of his Oxbridge friends. And they didn't feel like educators. So they were showing up for the students, but they didn't have any sense of, we're going to get there, Helen, don't you worry, there's space for you here. We are going to get there. They didn't have a sense of what they should be doing as tutors. They didn't have a sense of professional integrity in tutoring. And that's where it all came about. So Ludo and I started talking about leading change in the space. And we started with training and a podcast. And Ludo recorded 150 qualified tutor podcasts, and they were all about bringing voices together. So there was a real non-hierarchical, horizontal approach to, we are all experts here, we are all learners here, bring your whole self, ask your questions, show us what you know. And so it was a really encouraging time, and it was during COVID. So people were thirsty for community. People were digital nomads. People were supporting students who were really, really struggling at home. And there was a sense of anxiety and thirst for connection that we really were able to tap into at that time. We built out this schedule that you can see was ridiculously ambitious. I think it's about 55 hours of sessions that we planned here in the schedule. And it brought people together. There were about 850 people in that room. And we launched World Tutors Day. So World Tutors Day came about like this. Ludo and I were on the phone. I was at the kettle, and we were talking about the Love Tutoring Festival, and we were saying how glorious it was that we were bringing voices together, that people should see and should hear, should feel heard by other tutors. And then we realized that we were missing a trick because we weren't letting the rest of the world know how proactive tutors were being. We weren't celebrating the successes of tutors outside the tutoring profession. And so that's where World Tutors Day came from. At the kettle, I said, Ludo, what's the Sunday after World Tutors Day? After LTF4? And it turned out to be July 2nd. And so that's where it landed. Since then, we've been working towards teaching parents and students to thank their tutor in the same way that teachers get thanked. I famously say, and my lovely friend Philip has just joined this room, which is an absolute treat for me. The saddest thing, cynically, the saddest thing about leaving my role in school leadership was that I don't get end of term chocolates anymore. And those were the best chocolates. Dee's laughing. Those are the best chocolates. I would never buy those chocolates for myself. And I have a box in my office of cards and gifts and books, and the children wrote to me to express appreciation. And that was good for me, and it's good for them, and it was good for the whole community and culture. And I want tutors to have that. So that's how we created World Tutors Day. Now, you can see Lucy's gorgeous smiling face there at the bottom. Lucy and I, and Lucy was just about to have a really, really exciting change in her own business. We said, let's do something ridiculous for World Tutors Day. She said, how about I tutor for 24 hours straight? Lucy, where are you? So how about I tutor for 24 hours straight with students all over the world, donating time and raising money at the same time? So Lucy raised, as you can see, nearly £1,500 for Creating Better Futures, which supports children in Africa to ensure that they get education. And that was how we launched World Tutors Day. So we were through and through. I would love to know from you, before I tell you about what happened next, I would love to know from you whether you were at LTF1 and how it felt for you. So please, please, please populate the chat and let me know how Love Tutoring Festival felt for you when you first found it. And then I'll tell you what Georgina said. No pressure, Georgina. Let's stop share for a second, please. Thank you. Okay, so Hannah, you put me to the post then. I want to know who was at LTF1 and how it felt for you. And I will tell you how it felt for me, and I'll tell you what Georgina said as well. Okay, fantastic. So Helen Osmond, are you here? So Helen said that she was inspired by Love Tutoring Festival 1. And Georgina said that she joined the first session and she thought she thought everybody else knew each other. She thought she'd stepped into a room where everyone else knew each other. And that, I think, was a really, really important. Vicky, you felt relieved. That's really cool. So that was a really important thing that I learned then, that firstly, we're all nervous. We're all nervous when we step into a new room. It always feels like everybody else is on the front foot and we're not quite sure. And secondly, if you connect with people as friends that you haven't got to know yet, then you have a real head start in building culture, building community, creating safe spaces, and learning together. So let me move forward, please. Hannah, could you share screen again? Love Tutoring Festival 2 was huge. It was too big and it broke me. Love Tutoring Festival 2 was huge. That was Helen Reed's Love Tutoring Festival. And we had the awesome Matt Mazza, who creates live streamed music for children, specifically with autism. So live stream educational programming that supports learners in diverse contexts. And what he does is he delivers them in libraries, but at that time he delivered them to us. And so we brought real joy with this. We also delivered CPD accredited workshops at that time. It was immense, right, Dee? And we had some fantastic educators who were given a platform. They were given a platform to show what they know to other educators. And I think that one of the things that we miss when here's Helen. One of the things that we miss when we step into tutoring or step out of teaching is we miss the opportunity to support peers. We miss the opportunity to show peers our own professional development. And I don't think that's okay. I actually don't think that tutors can stick around in tutoring unless they have an opportunity to grow and support and give back to adults as well as children. That element of career progression is something that we've always leaned into. And in this case, what we did was we took the awesome educators we knew and we learned from them. I would love to know if you were at LTF2. Dee was there, Helen was there. And I will tell you that for me, it was breaking point. So we did the first one in June, we did the second one in January. I had planned to do the next one the next June, and I was on the floor. And that's when community really kicked in. So there was a small nub of us, including Helen Osmond and her donuts, that really came together at that time and said, leading change has to be a group endeavor. And so it was fully loaded. That's exactly right. And so with that group commitment, what we created was a collective that was bringing tutoring together. If you could move to the next one, Hannah. LTF3 was all about well-being. And if you think about where you were at that time, you might understand why. It was post-COVID, and we'd adapted and adapted again. And all I wanted was a cup of tea. Kathleen, I can see that you're all set up there as well. All I wanted at that time was to just rest and be close with good people. And that's what we created at that time. So when World Tutors Day came around for the second time, I asked Sarah Lynn to lead it, and our focus was on well-being. Sarah Lynn is not actually able to be here today. Something urgent has come up for us, but she is our well-being lead at Qualified Tutor. And I think that making sure that we support the adults that support the children is one of the most important things we can do in a professional development community. Lauren, that's exactly right. You found it when you needed it most. That's exactly lovely. Thank you. So there was this sense at that time that we realized that we needed to innovate because we needed to bring what was necessary next. And that's why we went hybrid. Could you turn the slide, please, Hannah? So January of this year was our first hybrid event. And the people who were there online said that they'd never felt so included. They'd never felt so part of things. So even though there were people in the room, there were hundreds of people online all over the world. And what we did was we built out the International Tutoring Framework. Now, at 1 o'clock today, we've got a long session. And during that session, I'm going to walk you through our audit based on the International Tutoring Framework. It's a session that I call meaningful quality assurance, because those of us who have come from school have seen lots of frameworks and have seen lots of accountability programs. We need to know that we are developing as professionals and we do not need to be micromanaged. So what I've created for you is a structure that we can go through together where you will have some actionable outcomes at the end of it. And this is where we launched it. So January 2023, we gathered together at the Welcome Collection in central London. It was delightful. And we included the people in the room. And at that time, Tribal were beginning their quality assurance process of the National Tutoring Programme, and they were actually attending this event. And it's been really, really interesting to see the progression of quality assurance in tutoring and how that's going to be rolled out. For me, it's really important that it's international, and it's really important that it's inclusive, but there'll be more on that later. So on the next slide, you'll see that then we got really, really scrappy, scrappy in the American sense. BET, the great big conference that happens in Excel, which has just decided not to be free for small businesses. You can probably guess how I feel about that. We decided to take a room down the road and invite tutors to talk about how Edtech supports us. Now, can I just have a show of hands, please, if you are working online with your students? Excellent. And do you have a rig that involves 2 screens and 4 different platforms and umpteen different subscriptions? And Helen, I've seen your rig. It's impressive. Okay. And when you ask Helen what she subscribed to, she says it depends which month of the year. Okay. So it's complex. It's complex. The people in the top photo there are Priya Lakhani from Century Tech and Helen Freeman from Oxford University Press. They are grown-ups. They are supporting tutors. They are supporting education, the development of education, the progress of education. And I said to them, how are you going to recognize tutors? And they said through Qualified Tutor, which was very exciting. They hadn't had an opportunity to connect with tutors before. And that opportunity to bring tutoring into mainstream Edtech was very important. The panel that you can see underneath it is Carl from the online school. We've got lesson space, pencil spaces, Kirsten from Gaia Learning, and Alex from LearnCube, all gathered together. These are competitors, but they gathered like colleagues to talk about how Edtech should be supporting tutors to do their best work. Kathleen, I'm really glad that you appreciate that, because it was really, really impressive for these people who are mostly, and certainly at BET up the road, were hustling for the same attention, to have them come together and talk about their own journeys personally as leaders, and an opportunity for them to really think about how they can close the advantage gap, how they can support neurodiversity by really creating inclusive programming. So one of the things they were saying was, when you're delivering tutoring in Arabic, you have to flip the whole direction of the language. So inclusion is not just translating. Inclusion is actually creating a user experience that leans towards what the students need. There's been a lot of thinking in the last few years that has brought us, Hannah, turn the slide, please. That's brought us right here. Thank you. So I came together with some parents and I started talking to them about tutoring. They hated it. They hated it. Kathleen, you are really fun to teach. You are giving me all the feedback and I appreciate it. It was so interesting. I sent them pre-reading about how school is broken and they did not like that. And they showed up and they said, it's fine for me. And if I need to support my children, I'll just pay for tutoring. I'm all right, Jack. And I said, no, there is no I'm all right, Jack, in education. It's either good or it's not good. And it's either fair or it's not fair. And we need to make sure that we are delivering learning that is inclusive of all learners. That's what our systems have to lean to. And so I challenged them to pay attention. What are they spending on tutoring? How are they choosing tutors? You can access this reading. It's all on our website under QT leadership, thought leadership. I think what was really, really informative to me is how far ahead we in the Love Tutoring community are to the thinking that's out there. So you may have heard that last night I was at an awesome lecture run by the Chartered College of Teaching, where Dylan Williams, who is the world leader in educational research, was speaking. And I asked him what he thought about tutoring and what is the place for tutoring in the development of schools. And he was really curious. I showed him the International Tutoring Framework, and he was really, really curious because what we're finding is that there's not the thinking to understand tutoring that there has been traditionally with education, with teaching. And that's a change that we need to lead towards. So we're talking to parents and we're talking to educationalists, and we're bringing tutoring not just together as a closed nurture group. We're actually launching ourselves on the world stage now, saying we're a profession that is making a change and needs to be advocated for. Okay, so that brings us to where we are today. Good morning, Charlotte Watson. Where's your feather boa? It's a bit early. Okay, so here we are, my friends. Love Tutoring Festival 4, a celebration of world tutoring. You know why we celebrate, because we start with positivity. And you know why I talk about world tutoring, because half of us are either working with students all around the world and or traveling as we tutor. So I just met a very lovely digital nomad. I can't see your name here. Who was it that I just met? Came in. Who's based in Italy. And I met with another person in Belgium and a tutor who has been traveling South America since COVID, took his child out of school and is traveling and tutoring all over the world. World tutoring is an approach that gives us flexibility, gives us agility, and allows us to be really, really precise about who we're helping and how. You can lean into your specialisms when you can reach children who need you all over the world. So we know that tutoring is flexible and fulfilling. Oh, Nicole, thank you so much. What time is it there? So that's what we've done. We've created a platform for World Tutoring, and World Tutors Day that's coming up this Sunday is all about Thank Your Tutor. So not only we have given you thank you cards, we have also turned those thank you cards into digital credentials, which is our gift to you. Those digital credentials then show up in your digital wallet. Can I have a show of hands who knows what a digital wallet is here, please? Ooh, I'm on the wrong view. I can't see the show of the hands. Awesome. So those of us who are already using their digital wallet and sharing it with clients know that it's a really effective way of showing them everything that you've learned and earned without having to talk their heads off. But to have a testimonial, I actually went into a meeting with a school governor. Philippa, you'll know who I'm talking about. I went into a school meeting with a handful of my thank you notes, not from children, but from teachers, because I wanted him to know what change I was making, and I didn't have a way to show him. And I found that really, really frustrating. So that's where this idea of creating these notes that are digital and follow you from year to year and gather comes from. It's real testimonials from real people. So if you want to use the Hannah, could you drop the link in the chat, please? We've got a little form that you can send out to all your students to teach your students and your parents to thank you. And if you're running a tutor agency, I strongly suggest you write some of these for your tutors, because the minute that you remember to thank people, they do better for you. We're leaning in with positivity here. In the bottom left-hand corner there, you can see Andy Cope, who is one of the most well people I've ever met. Andy Cope is not only the author of the ridiculously awesome Spy Dog series, which I've read with my children many times. He is also the creator of The Art of Brilliance, and he is a professor in happiness. He genuinely has a PhD in wellness. And so his organization has partnered with us for World Tutors Day, because when I said to him that we are helping the adults that help the children, he said, I will be a part of that. Now, that view over there, I was actually just there this morning, is the view from the terrace that we'll be in tomorrow. And if you can still join us in person, we have space and we would love to welcome you in. Jump on a train and come and join us in London, because it's going to be absolutely glorious. So this is my challenge to you. I need you to tell me, please, how LTF4 will be for you. Assume that it's already been. Assume that you're looking back next week or next year. And you're going to, Helen, really, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. Inspiring, okay, I'll take that. We're looking to be inspired, and I want to remind you that although there are workshops delivered by our lovely Vicky and other nourishing, it's really all about participating. It's as much about the other people who are next to you in a breakout as it is to listening to the presenters. Oh, Lauren. Okay, I'm going to explain to you what Lauren's just said. Lauren's come down to London by herself. Hands up if you know that by yourself is really very scary. Lauren has come down to London from Scotland by her Edinburgh?
Just outside Edinburgh, yes. Yep.
There you go. You can tell now, can't you? By herself, so that she can be with us in person tomorrow. And the process of making that choice, holding your own hand, you probably ate chocolate buttons all the way down. Am I right? Yeah.
Yeah, I had chocolate, crisps, snacks. Yes, the whole way.
Yes, I know. We look after ourselves like babies. The first time I went out of London after COVID, I went up to Newcastle to visit a tutor business that we support. And it was, Philippa. And it was really, really scary. And actually, Helen and Georgina and a few of us here really, really supported me all the way up and down. So, Lauren, if you're feeling wobbly, message us in the community. We are here for you and we respect what you have done today. Hands up if you are way out of your comfort zone this year. Yeah. And that's fine, right? It's fine, because we know why we're doing it. It's bloody hard. We know why we're doing it. We know that it's purpose. Sophia, you said to me before, it's business stuff, right? So we who trained to be educators didn't intend to be running businesses, big or small. And we are constantly out of our comfort zone, employing people, recruiting people, letting people go, onboarding new clients, deciding what full is. All of those elements, I love it as well. All of those elements that are terrifying. So I have felt recently that building a business is the closest to play that we get as adults. For all the seriousness and adult-mindedness, this freedom to step into the unknown is really, really brave. And there's a part of that that is in the fabric of tutoring. So when I was at the Chartered College yesterday and I was explaining to them, tutors are professionals, tutors are educators, tutors are carers, but tutors are also entrepreneurs. Tutors are brave and we are fragile. And so for me, LTF4 will be brave. To be honest, this is the biggest thing I've ever done in my whole life. And I am petrified. And you guys jolly well need to know that. But I'm in good company here, which means if I fail, that's okay, because you know I'll get up again. I showed you the journey of Qualified Tutor and Love Tutoring because I want you to know that it's been hard, it's been graft, there's been moments of joy. But most of all, I want you to know that we have been growing together for years now. And that's an asset that cannot be replaced. The fact that we all have, some of us more, some of us less, have time under our belt together, under the bridge maybe, together, where we have been growing and seeing each other's lives and businesses develop, means the world to me. So, yes, Helen Tower Bridge. Under Tower Bridge, you see that. So my goal in LTF4 will be that we will all come out feeling celebrated and feeling courageous for a new year where we actually speak to the world and say, tutoring it's been here forever. It's been here forever. But this is what it looks like today. Are you with me? Awesome. So let me tell you a little bit about the way that we are going to. Please, can you stop the share now, Hannah, so that I can see everybody's faces? Thank you, my darling. Let me show you a little bit about the way we're going to run things over the next 10 hours or so. A little bit about what the schedule is. There are going to be regular breaks, because I learned in LTF 1, 2, and 3 that sitting in front of a screen for 5 days straight is a bad idea. Unless you're binge watching on Netflix, which is not for me to judge. So we will be teaching you to dive in, participate, engage, and then go away and then come back again, okay? During lunch, there will be breakouts open. So if you want to really, really have an opportunity to share a sandwich and chat to people at the same time, Anna will be able to facilitate that so that you can be a part of the conversation and connect with each other throughout. This morning, we have a panel coming up at 10:45. We have an awesome bunch of independent tutors who will be talking about their tutor journey. Our goal is that by celebrating them, we will bring you the courage that you need to walk your own path. This is that moment where we say to people, stop waiting for the bell to ring. Give yourself permission to go for it. Sophia, you like that, right? So that's what we're going to be doing throughout. But you will hear from some awesome humans, and they will tell you the truth, like the actual truth. Not just the banter, not just the Facebook sheen. Actually, it's hard. Actually, it's worth it. Nicola Kelting, where are you? Hi. Nicola Kelting will be delivering a session at 11:30 on the art of reflection, a 3-step plan. And if you know me at all, you know that it's all about reflectiveness around here. The Qualified Tutor house rules are: be curious, be reflective, and be generous. Double points to the lady in the red t-shirt. So we are inviting you to listen to hear from Nicola, her guidance on enabling students to be reflective too, leading our learning. And then we're going to have lunch, and then we are going to have a great big session. And this is probably the biggest session of LTF4. Yes, I have planned it for when you're really fresh and well rested. I'm taking an hour and a half of your life to do the International Tutoring Framework audit with you. I will scaffold you. I will hold your hand. You will get a report at the end of it with, as I mentioned before, really practical takeaways. And it's a gift. It's just a gift to help you grow. We're going to hear from Robert Jennings about dyscalculia. We're going to hear from Michael Gibbon about scaling your business. We're going to hear from Joanne Kaminsky about getting tutors from around the world. Hopefully, we're going to hear from each other as well. To connect in between sessions, use the interactive festival guide in the Love Tutoring community. If you have any questions, email Hannah, because she slept really well last night. She's not stressed at all. And she's our community lead and she loves to help you. So I'm going to take a break now, and I will see you back here at 10:45. Charlotte, we will see you tomorrow. Yeah. So go off, take a break. You can turn your screens off or you can leave and come back. You are always welcome here. Bring your whole selves. See you later. See you at 10:45. Cheers, Dee. Cheers, Nicola. Thanks, Sophia. Thanks, Helen. Thanks, Natasha. Thanks, Nikki. Thanks, Kathleen. Thanks, Philippa. Thanks, Jeremy. Thanks, Stuart. Nice to see you. Thank you for turning your camera on.